We're going to talk about five, count it, 1, 2, 3, 5 kettlebell exercises that at first impression may look absolutely useless. You might see somebody doing this exercise and think, that's a useless exercise. That's a useless person. But you would be mistaken. These exercises are not only not useless, they're pretty good and they're worth doing. And we think that you should give them a shot. So stay tuned. That is the theme of today's episode. I just want to announce that this show is sponsored by absolutely no one, but we are joined here by Aleks, the Hebrew Hammer Salkin, who's going to help us discuss this important conversation. Aleks, welcome back.
Good to be back.
Okay, well, thank you to our sponsors. Thank you, Aleks, for being here. And we're going to get right into it. This will be a brief episode to the point. And here's what we have in mind. You know, when we're thinking of like exercises that look useless, we're thinking of like exercises that if you saw somebody, or if the average person saw somebody performing this exercise at the gym, they might think, well, what's the point of that? Or you know, okay, maybe it's fine, but there's probably a lot better exercises you could do. Or they might just be exercises that a lot of people, including other coaches, have just called useless. And we're going to try and offer a little counterpoint here. So we've got 5 of them picked out, and we're going to go right into it because this first one is one of Alex's selections, but I definitely agree with it. It's called the tango carry. So Aleks, why might somebody think that this is a useless exercise? What is it? And what's the case to be made for the tango carry? Go.
Well, I don't know if I invented it, but I also don't know if somebody else invented it. So I'm going to take credit until somebody can prove that they did it first. And basically, what it is that you take a light kettlebell. For most men, it's probably going to be maximum like 16 kilos. So this allows you to get some more strength out of your lighter kettlebells. What you're going to do is you're going to hold it by the horns like you would for a goblet squat or something of that nature. And then you're going to twist your body to the side. Your hips are going to stay facing forward. So it's very similar to the position that you see tango dancers will get in, hence the name. And you're going to walk with it. And the important thing too is that you're not all, shoulders rolled forward and everything like that. You got to keep a nice big chest.
Proud chest, and then it's really just getting that sort of T-spine rotation there, right?
Yep. Exactly. And so one of the things that's very nice about it is that you start to feel muscles that you did not even know that you had and that you probably haven't done a whole lot to train. And you're getting this sort of like isometric twisting hold. And again, it's something that we don't really get a lot of, either isometrics or twisting movements in our training. And one of the things that's nice about it is that it really helps to add a mobility component in addition to the strength component. And before you know it, you're going to feel awesome. You're going to feel muscles working you didn't even know that you had. And would not surprise me if your shoulders start to feel a bit better, because that extra thoracic spine mobility has a tendency to make the shoulders feel very good. And you'll be a whole lot stronger. So
before you laugh at somebody tangoing with a kettlebell, try it yourself, and you'll realize that you will have quite improved thoracic mobility, which is often neglected. We're a big fan of that thoracic mobility, and the tango carry is a good way to do it. Don't have to go heavy, so you'll get some mileage out of your lighter kettlebells. Aleks, I assume that this could be used as just a kind of a daily warm-up or finisher to a routine or something like that. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Definitely, because it's meant to be done light in particular.
Yeah.
It's sort of a thing that you don't have to worry. In most cases, you don't have to worry too much about, am I going to overdo it? Am I going to, work out a little bit too hard? Again, lightweight, primarily focused on mobility, and main benefit that you're getting out of it is not the amount of weight that you're using, but rather the amount of movement that you're training that you normally don't train. So totally something that can be done daily.
By the way, I will say, of all these exercises between my channel and Alex's, we do have demos of these. So if you want the visual demonstration, just search them on either of our channels. You will find them there. Okay. Next up is the kettlebell floor press. So this is an exercise that, okay, maybe it doesn't look completely useless, but I don't think it's implausible to say that somebody saw somebody doing a kettlebell floor press at the gym. They'd be like, why are you doing that? Just go do a normal bench press or a dumbbell bench press. And in fact, I'm, to an extent, I'm sympathetic with that. So I would say if you don't have a normal bench press or whatever, the floor press isn't the worst option. However, I think with one little tweak, this one weird trick, Aleks, with this one weird trick, you can actually make this exercise rock and a whole lot more useful, and it can fill gaps, and it's really good and really nice. And that is bridging the hips. If you bridge the hips into floor press, it makes it an awesome exercise. It's totally worth doing. One, because now you can extend the range of motion. And that's kind of one of the issues of the standard floor press is your just elbows are just stuck against the floor. But if you bridge your hips, you can now extend the range of motion, which is great. And then you get all of that really nice hip bridging, glute activation, and we love hip bridges in general as an exercise. And now this is a way to not only get the hip bridging, but also do it in combination with a press where you get that extended range of motion, sort of like a decline bench, and you can use a significant amount of weight. So if you're going to do floor presses, I suggest doing hip bridge floor presses, and I think they're a really good exercise and worth doing, especially if you're just looking to throw in a sort of different variation for your pushing patterns for a short period of time. How's that, Aleks? Good?
I would agree. And another thing too is that for a lot of people, the dip, great as an exercise it may be, doesn't really feel great on everybody's shoulders. And so this is a great way that you can get some sort of that decline pressing movement and some pectoral power going without having to sacrifice your shoulders by doing dips. So dips are not inherently dangerous, but not everybody's shoulders appreciate them. So bridge floor press is a big, big plus.
Okay, so this next exercise is one that a lot of people might not think is useless, but it's an exercise that a number of people have actively called useless, and that is the lunge, the kettlebell lunge. So, Aleks, you defend the kettlebell lunge against its more hostile and ferocious critics. So please make the case. Is this exercise useless? Do you just like doing useless exercises, Aleks, or what's going on?
I've been known to.
There's nothing quite like going to the gym and just wasting my time. It's
exactly
favorite thing.
Exactly. One of the things that I think is great about the lunge is that it's not a guarantee that just because you can squat that you can lunge, because that's one of the arguments that people will make. They say, well, you know what, if you could squat, you can go heavier with that anyway. So why bother doing lunges? But I remember, this had to have been over 10 years ago. I was teaching somebody who was pretty good at goblet squats, and she could easily do them, for many sets of 25, 35 pounds, that sort of a thing. But she couldn't even do a single lunge. And so even though her legs were technically strong, she didn't really have enough strength to use them one at a time. And, in my opinion, that's just like the ultimate in, we'll say, non-functional strength, whatever functional means. Life happens one leg at a time. So the ability to squat deeply and with control is very important, but the ability to lunge deeply and with control is equally important, because most of the real world activities that you're going to do are not going to happen just with you stationary on 2 feet. You're going to actually have to move one leg at a time and be able to do so with strength. So lunges, as well as other things like single leg deadlifts, which, generally speaking, people see the benefit of. Both of these are very, very important if you want to get strong and functional, quote unquote, over the long run. So that is my, in a nutshell, defense of the lunge. I'm a big fan.
Great. Well, we're going to see if we can set the record here and actually keep this episode 10 minutes or less, which with a windbag like Aleks would be quite the feat, right? So here we go. Next one. I got one more. Aleks has one more. My next one is this. Again, this might not look useless in and of itself, but at least in the kettlebell world, a lot of people say this is useless because you might as well just do this other thing instead. And that's the kettlebell high pull. So a lot of times people are like, well, don't bother doing high pulls. Just do snatches or one-arm swings. The high pull is nothing special. I disagree. I think the high pull has a number of unique benefits and purposes, and that it should be something that you incorporate into your training, at least sometimes. So, for example, I think really heavy high pulls are actually more helpful for a lot of people than really heavy snatches, because you don't even have to worry about overhead issues or forearm collision issues. You can just put in the pure power with high pulls and get that strong. You're also getting more of a pull on the high pull, because with the high pull, you are more aggressive with the pull than the snatch. You're going to get a bit more of the back, the biceps. But for me, in terms of just maximum power production and force redirection, heavy high pulls are super useful. They totally rock, and they will make your snatches feel that much easier, by the way. So for that reason, I think high pulls serve a really useful purpose. Even if you're already snatching, I think you can get a lot of unique benefits from heavy high pull training. I also think the high pull is a good exercise to just run various intervals with. For example, 15, the classic VO2 max protocol works really well with high pulls, 15 seconds on, 15 seconds off for 15 minutes. You don't have to go heavy with that, but just trying to hit somewhere between 8 to 12 reps per 15 seconds is a really good conditioning effort. And again, what's the high pull helping to do? It's not just force production, it's force redirection, and it will spare your forearms if you're doing them really heavy, which can add up even with good technique on snatches. So there's my case for the high pull. Aleks, do you have anything to add, or should we go to the final one?
I could add a whole lot, but since we have about 5 seconds to make this a 10-minute podcast, I say we should move on.
And we failed. All right, so we'll see if we can keep it under 12 minutes. All right, Aleks, go. Yeah. Make the case for the last exercise, which is the kettlebell pullover.
Now, this is a lot of times viewed as some bourgeois bodybuilding exercise, and it is, but this was also a classic movement that was done by the golden era bodybuilders and weightlifters to build a strong chest, to help expand the rib cage and lung capacity, and also build up other muscle groups like the serratus anterior and stuff like that. But one of the things that's really great about it is that you are just doing a movement that's in a completely different direction. If you are used to just pressing and pulling and moving kettlebells all in just one direction, certainly nothing wrong with that, but the added benefit of, again, a little bit of thoracic spine mobility that you can get from pullovers, particularly if you do them with your chest extended or your upper back extended, works wonders at helping you to gain and maintain that mobility. Plus, it puts some nice muscle on the chest. It'll probably feel pretty good for your shoulders, provided that you're doing it with an appropriate weight to begin with. And it's a fun thing to add to the end of your regular workouts so that you can just fill in a couple of gaps and make sure you get back to enjoying your training, as opposed to just, doing the same 2 to 3 exercises ad infinitum over and over and over again. So that is what I would say for the pullover.
All right. So to summarize, our 5 exercises that either look useless or have been called useless but actually rock. We went through the tango carry, the bridge floor press, the kettlebell lunge, the kettlebell high pull, and the kettlebell pullover. Again, we have demos of these on our respective YouTube channels. Check them out. In the meantime, Aleks, tell us about your 9-minute thing real quick. That thing of yours that is 9 minute. Tell us about that thing, and then and then I have a question I want to ask the audience. Yep.
Oh, perfect. Okay, well, it is my 9-minute challenge, and actually the tango carry does make an appearance in there. So it is based around gait pattern movements like crawling, loaded carries, and other things like that you can add to your current workouts to make them even more time efficient and effective at helping you crush weakness and forge bold strength. And all you have to do is go to 9minutechallenge.com and you can get your own free copy.
Perfect. And my question for you, audience, is this. What exercises do you think don't get enough love? Is there an exercise that you think people dismiss too quickly? If so, let us know. What is an exercise that has been unfairly dismissed that you think actually rocks, kettlebell or otherwise? Drop a comment. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Please like, share, subscribe. We'll catch you next time.